Okay, so you've probably seen this image before, right? In paintings, in museums, this powerful, instantly recognizable figure of a man pierced by arrows. But here's the thing. This isn't a story about defeat. It's actually a story of incredible endurance. So today, let's dive into the amazing life of Saint Sebastian.
So, who is this guy? And how on earth did someone who went through that become this timeless symbol of strength and faith? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning of his story.
See, before we can even talk about the arrows, we have to rewind. We're going back to a time when he was a Roman soldier and living a very, very dangerous double life.
All right, let's set the scene. We're in the late 3rd century. Sebastian, born in France and educated in Milan, makes this huge life decision in 283 AD. He enlists in the Roman army. But get this, his reason for joining? It's not about power. He's actually a Christian, and he's doing this during the reign of Emperor Diocletian. This period is literally known as the Great Persecution. I mean, it was the absolute worst time to be a Christian in the Roman Empire. So by 286, his secret faith is on a collision course with the very empire he's sworn to serve.
I mean, just think about the risk he's taking here. We're not talking about some low-level grunt. Sebastian climbs the ranks to become a captain of the Praetorian Guard. These are the emperor's personal bodyguards. And from this insane position of power, he's working from the inside, secretly helping and comforting Christians who are being thrown in jail by the same system he's a part of.
Well, as you can imagine, a secret like that can't last forever. He was found out, and that leads us to the most famous and, frankly, the most brutal part of his story, the first attempt on his life.
So the emperor confronts him, and Sebastian, he refuses to give up his faith. Diocletian is enraged and orders a pretty gruesome execution. They take Sebastian, tie him to a tree, and a whole team of archers just lets loose. They shoot him until he's just full of arrows, and then they leave him for dead. I mean, that should have been the end of the story, right? But in this absolutely incredible twist, a Christian widow named Irene comes to get his body for a proper burial, and she finds out he's still alive, still breathing. So Irene takes him in secret, and nurses him all the way back to health. And this miraculous survival, it's a really crucial part of the story. It's not just about Sebastian's insane physical resilience. It's also about the bravery and the compassion of this secret Christian community that was willing to risk everything to save one of their own. Okay, so let's just pause here for a second. You've just survived being shot full of arrows. What do? Most of us, we'd get out of town, change our name, and never look back, right? Well, Sebastian, he was not most people.
This, to me, might be the most incredible part of his entire story. Instead of running, instead of hiding, the now recovered Sebastian marches right back and finds Emperor Diocletian. He stands right in front of the guy who ordered him to be shot full of arrows and calls him out, condemning him for his cruelty to Christians. Absolutely unbelievable.
You can really see the escalation here, can't you? The first time around, he's sentenced to die for his secret faith. But this second time, this is for his open, public, in-your-face defiance. So now Diocletian is beyond furious, and he orders another execution, one he's sure Sebastian can't possibly survive.
And this time the sentence was carried out. Sebastian was beaten to death with clubs. To make sure Christians couldn't honor his body, it was thrown into a common sewer. But, once again, that faithful community went into action. A woman named Lucina managed to recover his body, and she had him buried in the catacombs, which was a sacred burial place for Christians back then.
So yeah, his life ends in martyrdom. You might think that's the end of the story, but for Saint Sebastian, it was really just the beginning. His death is what sparked this incredible legacy of endurance that has lasted for centuries.
So why do we still talk about him today? What makes his story stick? Well, it makes sense, right? His unbelievable physical and spiritual strength made him a perfect patron saint for athletes. And of course, being a brave Roman captain, he became a patron for soldiers. But what's really fascinating is that during the plagues of the Middle Ages, people saw his survival from the arrows of the archers as this powerful symbol of hope against the deadly arrows of the plague.
You know, the famous theologian St. Ambrose put it perfectly. He called martyrs like Sebastian the athletes of Christ, competing not for some earthly prize, but for a heavenly crown. And that, right there, just perfectly captures the spirit of Sebastian's legacy.
And to this day, his incredible courage and his conviction are honored every single year on his feast day, January 20th. It's a day for people to remember this amazing story of perseverance against absolutely impossible odds. Look, Sebastian's story, the arrows and the emperors, it can feel like it's from another world, so ancient. But the core of it? That's timeless. We're talking about unbreakable conviction, incredible resilience, and standing up for what you believe in even when the opposition seems overwhelming. So it kind of leaves us with a question, doesn't it? In our own world, with our own challenges, what does that kind of true endurance look like today?
Saint Ambrose writes of Saint Sebastian in his preface, "The blood of the holy martyr Sebastian, which was shed in thy name, makes manifest thy greatness, O Lord, who through his intercession works thy might in the weak, crowns our efforts, and gives health to the sick."